Yep. So moving on to the first part, the second part, the basics of Excel. For that, I'll just share one of the data set, and then we'll proceed it from there. So not this one. Yeah. So this is basically a normal Excel sheet. Okay. So if you like go to your file and open a new sheet, okay, and go to home, and if you want to take a tour, you can just double click on that, and or just click on that and create, and you can get a tour of that. Okay, so it's the same thing, and it will give you this particular Excel, okay, and which will contain all these tabs. So we'll see, many people ignore that, but it gives you a basic idea of Excel anyway. So we'll see how it works. We'll see what all things are there in the tour that they explain. It's very basic. I mean, most of you might be knowing it, and most of you might not be knowing this as well. But few information that you'll get from this will be very valuable for not only for this course, also for your future usage as well. So basically, what is happening here is, yeah. So this is a simple add. They're talking about how to add the numbers. So basically, we have this capability to add certain numbers from a table, basically. So you can write down a formula like this. So as they have mentioned, select yellow cell under the amounts for fruit, okay, and then type sum D4 is to D7, okay. So sum D4 is to D7. Then close the bracket and press enter. It will give you the sum. Basically, what the formula suggests is it is giving you a sum from D4 to D7. D4 is the column and row number D4, and is to means that you can give it a range. So D4 to D7 means it will give you a range of D4 to D7, basically. And you can use any other method to do that as well. So if I delete it, and if I want to go, if I want to use any shortcut, so I'm using Mac, so Alt Enter won't work here, but you can try Alt equal to won't work here, sir, but you can try it in your laptops. In Windows, Alt equal to, if you press, it will give you the sum. If you go to Formulas tab and click on so mathematical formula, and if you want to try any other thing, you can try that as well. In this particular bit, so we have in home page, we have this sum. If you try to click on this and then click on sum, it will just do sum of D4 to D7, and you just press enter and it will give you the same thing. So you don't need to write formula if you're trying to achieve something like sum, average, count of number, max, min. You have more functions as well. You can click and find out other things, but as of now, for add, yeah, just go to, if you have a Mac, you can try from here. If you have Windows, you have that in that formulas tab, and an auto sum as well. So, but yeah, in formulas you have other things to do as well, but you will find it in auto sum here as well. And you can find an auto sum from home as well. So these are the things. Okay, and so now if you want to only add, so suppose now only add numbers over 50, select the last yellow cell, type sum if D is 11 to D15 and greater than 50. So basically it is a conditional addition. So if you basically want to try it out, so if you try, but this conditional summing won't work if you're trying to use auto sum. It won't work. it will just sum it from top to bottom. If you want to use it, you can use it as well, but it will give you a value which we don't want. And basically what is happening here is it is a combination of sum and if. So if you're trying to do sum, it will take the value of D11 to D15, which is suggested, and then you can type on a criteria. So in quotes, you will try that should be greater than 50. Okay. And now press enter. So now if you see, the values which are coming greater than 50 are only 100. So that's the sum that it is giving to you. Okay. Now for extra credit, it has just mentioned, I'm just doing it, but showing it to you that yeah, we can try this as well. So if you do G11 to G15 and give it a criteria that it should be less than 100, then it is 160, right? If you try to sum it up, 5, 9, 11, 15, 16, 160.
Rahul, how you are selecting here entire values?
Yeah. So when you're trying, so are you trying to ask about sum if or sum? I mean,
No, like when we write the formula and like when we select the row, you are
yeah.
selecting all rows at a time. Can you please, what is the shortcut for that?
Yeah. So once you, whenever you have to write a formula, first of all, you'll have to write an equal to. Okay. Then it understand that you're trying to write a formula. So suppose I'm trying to write a formula anywhere. So first I'll write equal to. I'm trying to do sum. Okay. Find sum. Then if I'm selecting something, so as I mentioned, if you want to select a particular row, okay, then you have to go there. Like Excel will understand. So as per the formula, you can see there is a number 1 and number 2 it is mentioning. Okay, so Excel will understand that the next thing that it has to take is number. Once you have put equal to and then put a sum, it will give you the formula that how you should proceed. Okay, so now if you click on one cell, it will appear there as well. So if you click on one cell, either you can click it on that cell or you can type it yourself. So I'm typing D4, right? Or clicking on D4. Now, if you click on, if you write is2, okay, so is2 is like, basically it will give you the range from one starting point to end point. And then I'm typing D11, okay, sorry, not D11, D7, okay. So it will take all the values from top to bottom. So 50, 20, 60, 40, everything is selected here in the amount. And then I'll close the bracket, enter. It will give me the sum 170. Okay. Is that what you wanted to know, or have I explained something else?
No, Rahul, it's good. I got it.
Cool.
And Rahul, one more thing. Like in the
Yeah.
fourth table, like item amount, extra credit.
Yeah.
When you apply that is equal to some, there was a thing, some range in the third part, some
Yeah.
range. What is that
Yeah.
some range? We don't use it, right?
We will look about some range, but basically what happens is, like, if you want to know it about it, so some range will basically help you to get a certain value on the, but it won't give you any condition. So there's nothing like a sum range here.
Some if
I haven't
if you see some if in the
yeah,
sum
I
if.
mean, yeah, there's nothing like sum range. I haven't used it, so that's why even I heard it first time. Yeah, sum if is basically what we have used right now also. So sum if is basically getting the sum of certain values under certain conditions. So if you're using sum if, you can give one condition. If you'll use sum ifs, then you can give multiple conditions on multiple rows as well. So that's the difference. But there's nothing called sum range, because anyway, there's no point, because you can give a range of certain values in sum as well.
Okay. Can you again type some if and give some value?
Yeah, sure. Sum if, right?
And then see the last part, some range. How was I going to ask that thing?
Range. Okay, talking about this. So range is basically
Third one.
some range.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, you're talking about this one. Okay, fine. So this is basically when you're trying to create some other condition on top of it. So if you're trying, it won't suffice in this form, this particular condition, because we have just one column. But yeah, I'll show this example later on. Okay, don't worry.
Okay, no issue, not a problem. Just thank you.
No worries. So yeah, so this will give you all the values less than 100, and it will sum up all the values which are lower than 100. Okay, and it will give you 160. Yeah, and these things you can check, like basically it is more or less the same thing, but you can just go through it, and yeah, again it's the same sum if under certain condition. That's all. So that's all. So for this addition, I just want to explain this part. You can try this one for summing, and you can try on any other condition as well. You can choose any cell and type formula and then do that. Okay, cool. Moving on to fill. Yeah, so basically fill is used for like just dragging and dropping certain formulas. Basically, if you have, say, if you want to just try out one formula and like drag and drop it to the bottom of a particular column, and get that formula to be used in the same manner, you can use a fill function. Okay, it's nothing but just dragging and dropping. So basically, if so see, click the cell with the word produce and reset your cursor to the lower right, and then just click it and double click it, and you have to you'll get something. So basically, when you click on any cell, basically if I'm talking about count, so right now they haven't given any example with any formula, but that's fine. Okay, so suppose now it's count, and suppose what I'm trying to do is I am taking, just multiplying this particular thing with, suppose for each product the quantity 3 is there. Okay, so now and suppose this is price. Okay, now what we have to do is we don't have to copy paste the formula every single time for every row. What you need to do is just go to the right hand bottom of each of that cell and double click, and what it will do is it will replicate the formula for each and every row. So every cell will have a multiplication of 3 with respect to the F column. Okay, you can see F34 multiplied by 3, so 100 multiplied by 3, F35 multiplied by 3, so 200 multiplied by 3, 600, and like that. Okay, so this is about fill. It's very simple, and it's widely used because for a data which has thousands of rows, you don't want to like write down the formulas. You can alternatively, what you can do is you can drag and drop as well, but you have to wait for that uh, arrow to change, like the cursor to change it from the white color to black color, and then drag it and drop it. Will do the same thing, or else you can just double click and it will do the same thing. Right. Cool. Now, I don't think it will be causing any doubt, but any doubt still?
No, Rahul.
Cool. Thank you. Now moving on to the split. So basically, what happens here is you have to, if you want to split anything on one particular delimiter, you can use it. Okay. So basically, what happens is, like, if you have a certain data which contains information. So as you can see, it contains information of first name, last name, and company name. Okay. So you can use a delimiter. Okay, and basically give it a certain value. It can be anything, comma, space, or any value which is special characters or things like that. Okay, so if you want to see something like first name Nancy, sorry, Nancy, last name Smith, and then the company name Contonso Limited, right? You can obviously write it down, and you can, but I mean, if you have multiple, if you have these many rows, it's fine. But if you have multiple rows, it won't work like that. You won't be able to do that. And like, even if you think that you can write and drag and drop it, it won't work like that. It will just give you a replication of the first row. So how to overcome this problem? Okay, we can use a delimiter. Just copy paste this thing in the first column, because you want your data and your all information to remain intact, and just select this particular column. So I've just copied it and pasted it here. Okay, and then go to data, and you'll see something like text to columns. Okay, so click on text to columns. Okay, and then go to delimited. There are two features, delimited and fixed width. We'll talk about fixed width later. So delimited is something which will give you option of tab, semicolon, comma, space, other. We have, as you can see in the data, we have comma after each name and company name. So first name has comma, and second last name comma, and after that the company name. So we won't delimit it on any other thing. We have the option of delimiting it on tab, semicolon, comma, space, and other character as well. So if you have something like other character name, say special character dollar, you can do that as well. So just click on other and type what is your special character, and that will work. In this case, we have comma. We'll do the comma, and as you can see, it will just separate it out in the first name, last name, and the company name. Click on next, click on finish. Excel will ask you, there's already data. Do you want to replace it? Click on OK, and there you go. So you can see that there is the first name, the last name, and the company name delimited, divided basically in three different parts as you wanted. And then you're good to go. You don't have to write it down for each and every cell. And this is very handy when you try to develop something which when you try to separate out data. It becomes very handy when you try to do data analysis on certain part of it, of one particular column and things like that. So it becomes very handy. There is this another function. If I do Control Z, and if I do again text to columns, hold on. And then if I try to do from fixed width, we can do that as well. In this data, basically it will be a bit difficult because it's not arranged, like the names are like of different length. So that's why a delimiter comma we have used. But what if you have certain data which is basically, which does not have any delimiter, but it is arranged like that. So first row contains 5 number of characters, and then the other row in which you have to divide it contains 10 characters. So just you can give a certain dividend here. So if this basically divides the data in like 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, and then go to next, and then click on finish, and then click on OK. So obviously it is not making sense, but you can use this function to divide the data as well. It becomes very handy in those cases where data is like arranged character wise very similarly, but you don't have any delimiter or not even have a space in between, but you want to divide the data. So in that case, in those cases, it becomes very handy. Right. Or in those cases, like suppose I am trying to mention, suppose if you want to just put the first name and last name, but you don't want to divide the data into basically first and last name separately, but you want to divide the name data in first and last name in one column and company name separately. Then go to text to columns. If you use delimited, then what will happen, it will divide it into 3 different columns, but that is not the case here. They don't want that. So if you want to use fixed width, you can use it fixed width. And then if you have like properly separated, you can use this and just separate out your company name in that case. Okay. Or what you can do is you can just put a different separator instead of comma, maybe use any other separator like this, and then use this delimiter to separate out the data. things like that. Okay, so there are different functions that you can use instead of just using one delimiter. So yeah, any doubts? Cool. Cool. Thank you, Rupesh. Thank you, Ranjan. Right. Now we want to go to transpose. Okay. Let's see. We have some information in the bottom, how to split it. You can use a left-right function also to split the data. Okay, you can check this. It's just a formula, and basically, if you want to find it out, find something out, you can use this. It's basically a string. You can read about it and use this formula. But I would suggest if you want to divide the data, use delimiter. It's the easiest way to do that instead of writing formula and doing some mistakes. Okay, you can do that. You can read it out about splitting the column with using a formula, but best way is to use the delimiter, right? Okay. Now we'll go to transpose. Thank you. And yeah, so transpose is basically used when you have a data, suppose in rows and columns, and you want to transfer, like change the rows into columns and columns into rows. So basically in those cases, transpose is used. So let's see what is happening here is, so this is kind of used in basically we don't use it to a very large extent, because when you want to transpose your data, it won't be like having one column or two columns or things like that, but it is a big it is a very handy tool when you want to transform the data which is human readable, but you want to transpose it to machine readable format. So basically we tend to read it like this. So yeah, one item, bread, donuts, things like that, and then amount. But machine would prefer something like this, like column wise. So if you want to transpose it, what you need to do is basically basically if you want to just click on, so say this particular cell, write transpose, and then put out the value from C33, and then select everything and go to H34, then click on OK. And what will happen is it will transform your data to these two rows. Now what is happening is whatever your columns were now becomes rows. So basically all the item, bread, donuts, cookies, cakes, pies are now your rows. And then all the amount 50, 100, 40, 50, 20 are your rows as well. So there are only two columns, item and amount. And it has been transferred or transposed basically. Okay. Now, so basically it's about transposing a particular table. You can use it to do it for smaller data, but suppose in case of like large data sets, and if you want to use certain columns and certain values, then it becomes very difficult to use transpose. In those cases, we use pivot. Okay, cool. Any doubts in this one? It's fairly straightforward. It's just a transpose formula that we're using. And you just click on C, like whatever the data range is, and just click on transpose. And yeah, that's all. Cool. It's pretty basic stuff. And once we are done with this, so we'll quickly cover this one, and then we'll go and try using some formulas as well. And then we'll see. Okay. Now again, sort filter. Okay, sort and filter. So basically it's all about sorting your data and then filtering it out. So let's say in this data you want to use a sorting formula, and basically if you have like department, okay, and you want to sort your data based on your department. So we have multiple options to do that. So click select all the data, and you have the sort here. If you want to click on from A to Z, you can do that. And continue with the selection and sort, then it will sort it out. So bakery, deli, meat, produce, and things like that. And yeah, it will be sorted. Now you have the option of doing it from here as well. So you can just click on A to Z. It will ask the same thing and it will sort it. It will be sorted, right? If I'm clicking Control Z again, you have the option to do it for Z to A as well. All right. Now you can do the same thing from this part. So if I'm trying to do October, okay, I'm trying to sort it from for the month of October. So we can do that as well from A to Z. If I click on continue with the selection, then sort, okay, it is sorted. And yeah, it is now sorted for the month of October. As you can see, it starts from 10,000, goes up to 90,000. Now,
So with respect
if
to that department and category also, values also will get changed, right?
yes, but in some conditions it doesn't change, especially in large data sets. It doesn't change. So for that only, what we can do is we can do a sort, like click on sort, and then go on. So suppose no, cancel it. Suppose I'm selecting the entire data and I want to like sort it out on a certain value. So this is conditional sorting. Okay. So this is the advanced sorting. Basically, if you want to click on sort by, so right now it is December. Suppose I want to sort it from October values, smallest to largest, and then we add it and then by seriously. So it will start from October and then it will divide for it will sort for November, and then again, if you click on another cell, then it will sort by December, smallest to largest. If you click on OK, now you can see first it will sort for October, then November, then December, obviously, and everything will be sorted accordingly. So first preference it will give to October, everything is sorted. And accordingly, the department and category name will also change, right? So instead of just using A to Z, Z to A, you just have to click on the sort Z to A to Z table here, a box, whatever is met in the on the ribbon, and then you can add certain conditions. Like if you want to add multiple more than that as well, you can do that. Whatever is there in the data, right? And you have other options as well. So if you want to sort it on a cell color, font color, cell icon, you can do that as well. For now, we have just numerical values, so we'll use that. Also, you have the option of creating a custom list. So instead of using that, we can use a custom list as well, which we can use. But we have if you want to sort it, I mean, you can create that as well. All and you can explore this. Like you have the option of orientation from top to bottom, left to right. And if you want to, so if you're sorting something, basically if you're sorting something in alphabetic values, and if you want to check if it is case sensitive or not. So I mean, if you want to sort it on the basis of case sensitiveness, so Apple, if you're using capital A, and if you want to get that value on top, and then on the Apple with small a, so things like that, you can click on case sensitive and it will be sorted accordingly. So yeah, you can explore these things, but for now, like you can add conditions and then sort it out. Okay. So here in this case, like if you want to sort it on particular color, so you can do that. So you have the option of like cell color, okay, hotel on top, okay. So you have the option of putting the cell with colored number on top or on bottom also. So you can choose that. Just let's see on top, everything will be sorted on top of the row, the particular column for all those values which are colored in yellow color. That's all. So yeah, you have these options to do that. You have more ways to filter out as well. So we have this greater than, less than as well. So you can explore these things. It's all written in the documentation part as well. So you can use everything and you can explore these things. But as of now, do you have any doubt?
When we are using sort and conditioning, So conditioning is known as filter, right?
So suppose, which conditioning, sorry?
Like you were saying, like we are sorting the data and then we are applying some condition like order is on top or on bottom, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That is also, that is condition is also known as filtering, right?
So it's basically sorting, not filtering. So filter is basically, so if you want to, so filter is basically if you want to use this thing. So if you want to create, but it is called filtering in terms of that because it is giving you certain identity to your data. So right now, if
Mhm.
I'm using these three rows and putting it on top based on their color. So basically I'm filtering it out, but I'm not using a particular filter, but you can use a filter to filter this out as well, right? And like you can use the sort function and use filter function to select these. So now you have, suppose you have multiple rows but three of the columns. So instead of these 5 6 rows, sorry, you have thousands of rows and only three of them are yellow colored. Now you have identified these three. If you want to filter it out, you can just select these three and use it, right? There are other methods as well. So instead of not using the sorting and then filtering, what you can do is, for filtering purposes, I would say, if you want to see maybe if you want to see something like not this one. So if you want to filter out on the basis of by color here, it's not on the color, sorry. So if you want to filter out something on basis of some condition, so maybe greater than something, so maybe greater than, so if you want to filter out the data greater than, I will select some number which is not here. I can select the number which is here as well, but let's see, greater than 100,000. Okay, and then just click anywhere. So it will filter out those values which are greater than 100,000. So that's filters function we can use. You have multiple condition on filter as well. So you can use greater than and or function is there. You can choose any other as well, greater than, and then mostly it is used less than or equal to, and greater than or equal to. So if you want to give a range, you can choose this filter function to give a range as well, and click on and. So you have multiple options to explore: greater than or equal to, less than equal to, between you can use to use, I mean it will be same like greater than or less than equal to, but if you click on between, it will give you the option to select some certain numbers. So if you want to select, if you want to suppose 2 million is what we want to get rid of, so just select 150,000, and that's it. Only two rows are there with more than 100k and less than 120k, 150k. So
Okay,
right,
okay. Yeah, basically
things
in the
like,
filtering, we are reducing our data set simply. And in case of sorting, we are shuffling our data set as per the condition. We can say,
yes,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay, okay. Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. But you can use both in conjugation as well. I'm just giving you example of sorting the data, and then obviously you can just click on filter on top of the top of every row, and then yeah, it's very important to either, so once you have selected this data, it will identify, sometimes it won't identify, it will just filter on one particular bit. But if it doesn't, it's always a good practice to select all the uh, rows or all the first row of the all the columns where you want to apply filter, and then click on filter, so it will apply all the apply filters on all the columns that you have, right? Yeah, and then obviously you can do sorting, and or if you don't want to do sorting, you can do conditional filtering as well on these. You can select top 10, bottom 10, above average, below average as well. So these things are there to use. So suppose if you want to choose something above average, you can just do it, and then see only one particular row is coming up above average here. Okay, if you want something below average, everything will come up, but that 2 million will not be there. So yeah, and this is a very small and a short and handy method to filter out data. So you can use it. And if you want to get rid of everything, just click on clear and everything will be cleared. Okay. Right. So any doubt on top of this? Cool. Right. Now we'll move to tables. So what is happening here is like, it goes away. Yeah. So this is basically a table which we can use to like create a certain amount of data. Like so basically, right now it's not coming. If I click on this any cell, you have the option of create a table of your on your own as well, right? But yeah, you can click on table and just put on as many values as you want and just create a table if you want. Okay, so let's see what how it is happening here. So select the cell under total. So basically if it's telling you this is the total value, and this entire thing is a table. And then if you just see there's a black mark here. Okay, if you click on this, okay, and on the formulas tab basically, or you can use it from the home page as well. And then select the cell under the total. So basically you have to select this entire thing and then do auto sum. Either you can select everything, or maybe let's try with one particular cell. Okay, and then auto sum, then take sum. It will give you the calculation of one sum, and it will take everything at the bottom rows as well. So what is happening here is basically what it is doing is it's for the somebody has sent something. Okay, cool, thank you. So what is happening here is basically it is, so suppose I'll show you an example. So if I'm taking these 3 months data, okay, copy pasting it here, okay, basically, and trying to use auto sum, okay, click on enter. It is not giving me values for all the rows, okay, but if I delete it from here and click on auto sum, okay, click on enter, it will give me values of for all the rows. So that is the difference between a table and a normal data. Okay, if you have, so it is just summing up once, and then if you click on right hand bottom cursor, then obviously it will give you the sum of everything. It will be the same thing. But if you have data in a table, what will happen is it will automatically understand that it will follow the same consistency, same formula at the bottom rows as well. So it's very handy to convert your data. If you already have a data and if you want to convert it into a table, you can do that, and then it becomes very handy to use the data instead of just click and dragging and dropping things like that. So if you want, you can just use a table and convert this entire thing to a data. So and click on my table as headers. So first column, first row will be headers. And then what it has identified that, yeah, you have data which is not table. So it starts from L2 and goes up to O32. So and we just click on OK, and you can see that it has become a table. And now if you want to perform some, just click on data and go to, sorry, click on home or click on formulas wherever you want. Let's see formulas and click on sum, click on enter, and everything will come up. Everything will come up as the sum of total number of all the 3 columns. So this is very handy, very useful for those data sets where basically we don't want to click and drag and drop and do multiple calculations and things like that. So on those cases, it becomes very handy. It's just an example of one formula. If you have like, if you're not using sum, if you're using multiple other formulas, and if you want to use it an auto function, and you don't want to drag and drop and use the it will, because if you have multiple rows, thousands and multiple thousands of rows, it will take some time to perform calculation also. But in table, it will be automatically performed, so it becomes very handy and easy to use the table instead of normal data. So yeah, and you can read about this at the bottom as well. So there are some conditional things that they are doing, like there's a shortcut of doing, like they're saying that you can use Control Shift T to calculate the total number of rows as well. So things like that, you can try it. But main agenda was to show you how a table is generated, what is the difference between calculating using a sum or any other automated function when you are trying to do in a sum or normal data. So when it was not a table, it was just giving you a sum of one particular row. When it became a table, it was giving you the sum of all the rows automatically. So yeah, any doubts on this one?
Yeah, one question. Like
Yeah.
as we know that this is a table, because after applying the auto sum, the value are automatically incrementing. So is there
Mhm.
anything or in Excel that it track of these kind of things, like the property of this data type, something we can see that this is a table or something like that?
Yeah, so it will be basically there's no property as such, but yeah, you can
Maybe metadata or something that
uh,
show that this is a table, this is a chart, this is something.
that is something which is there in Excel, but if you want to create a data model, and then if you want to see, you can see that. So you have the option of doing that. So in that data, you have this option of get data, like using Power Query or HTML. So these options will also activate when you don't have a data in your Excel. Okay, and then you can extract data from there and then get a metadata, then see that that metadata can be used to create a data, basically if you want to create a data model in those cases. But in this case, you won't be able to. There are certain features that are different in a table, and there are certain features that are different in a particular normal data set. So that is one of the example. As you can see, that if you perform one calculation on one particular cell, everything will be replicated in other cells. So that is only possible in table. It's not possible in normal
Right.
data. So that is the difference. But yeah, if you want to explore other things in terms of like connection, getting data, you can explore these things. So you can get data from Power Query, from web sources as well, and from SQL Server directly. And then you can create a data model. But those, I mean, those are only used when basically if you want to do a lot of visualization on Excel. People do that. People, I won't deny that they don't do that, but nowadays, like, people generally do those things in Power BI or Tableau. Okay, so it's
Mm-hmm.
better to learn these particular important bits in those tools instead of learning it in Excel, because because there are multiple things to explain in Excel as well, but we are restricting it to a certain uh, content where it will be asked only for interviews and things like that. But you can
Yeah,
you
got
can
it.
yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
okay. No, not a problem. Yeah.
So it's basically Power BI was created after these functionalities were there in Excel. So taking a base of these functionalities to get data from multiple data sources and then create a dashboard. So this was the agenda to create a Power BI. So basically, it is doing the same thing where you what you're seeing in Excel. It's just that Power BI has the capability to connect it with cloud as well, and use multiple million rows instead of just restricting it to 1 million. So that's the difference. That's why Power BI is used. But yeah, you can do the same thing. Data modeling you can do. You can check how data modeling is done. I think I have explained it in Tableau class. Maybe if somebody else has taken Power BI or something, I don't know. But yeah, if you want to check about data modeling, what is metadata, you can check that class as well. Right? Cool. Great. Now moving on to, I won't discuss slicers yet because it is a part of data visualization. You can explore if you want. And interest of time as well, I'll just, I think charts and pivot tables, anyway have to discuss in the later half of the lecture. So I'll directly go to drop down and I'll just discuss drop down and then we'll proceed it with the formulas that we have. Okay. Now, so if you want, you can read it out everything as well. But basically, what we are doing is in column F, click a cell with a department, for example, meat. So basically, right now we have a department called meat. Okay. There are three departments: produce, meat, and bakery. Produce means whatever is produced in terms of vegetables and fruits. Meat is meat, uh, mutton, beef, ham, things like that. Bakery means whatever bakery product that you are making, bread or pies and things like that, cakes, things like that. Okay. So what we can do is we can do basically drop down. We can see what is happening. Create a table pressing Control T. So what basically you can create a table pressing Control T. Okay, so now if you want to just create a table and say that my table has headers, okay, you can do that. Okay, now same thing is created. Okay, if you want to create a table not on top of this, on top of any other value, like, okay, so there's one column, and then basically you can give values, like if you want to just create a certain number of values, you can do that. Okay, you can do it by filtering as well. What I would suggest is you can go to data and go to data validation. Okay, so let's go to advanced. Okay, it's not coming from here. So there is an option of data validation right here as well. So you can use advanced function as well. It will work when you have data. Right now we don't have data, so data validation. So let's go to data validation. Let's put a particular list. Okay, so now we will give values like produce, then put a comma, give space if you want, and put a comma, and then give bakery. So these are the three options that we had. Okay, click on OK, and then you can see you will have these options. So what you will do is let's see. Okay, just copy and paste it. You can create same thing here as well directly, but yeah, just to showcase it to you separately, I did that. So once you have created this from data analysis, from data validation tool pack, you can see that there is a drop down created. So it is very useful for creating drop downs. That's all. And suppose the apple is produce, you can put produce. You can put, what you can do is just Control D. Okay. So Control D is basically to create a duplicate. Okay. So it will create duplicate if you want. So beef is meat. Bananas again produce, lemon produce, broccoli produce, kale produce, ham is again meat. And then bread is bakery, chicken is meat, and cookies, things like that. So you understood, right? So once you have created one cell with particular data validation tool, okay, you have given a list. So here you have multiple options: any value, whole number, decimal, or things like that, date, range. Also you can give, you can create a text length from one particular length to second particular length if you want, or you can use a custom function to create anything. But mostly we use it for list. Okay, so that's why I've taken this example to give you, because you might have seen in your offices where you have worked or things like that. So that's how they create a drop down. So that's how they do that. So go to data validation, and then allow a list, and then ignore blank and cell drop down and things like that. You need to click on these two if not clicked, and then create a list. So right now we have a list of 3 values: produce, meat, and bakery, and then click on OK. It will create a list. You can do it right here as well. You can create somewhere else and copy paste it, and then either drag and drop it, or click on double and then do that, and or just click on this and select all the rows, and then just press Control D. It will create a duplicate of all the things. Okay, so you can use any of the features of the Excel, and then create a drop down for all the rows of a particular column. Okay, you can check. You can copy paste the same thing. You can drag it in the right hand side as well, and then do the same thing as well. Okay, it will give you the same drop down if you want to change it. If you want, if you don't need, you don't. That's all. So you can take the black cursor to right hand side as well, and do take the copy to similar features to the right hand side as well. So that's something which you can do. Okay, for now I'll delete it. So any doubt on this one, how to do it, what are the features of it, how to make it a duplicate and things like that? Any issues?
I think I missed that point where when you created that column 1,
Okay,
that was a
so
part of data
this,
validation.
yeah, so basically what I did is when I tried to, so this is basically, I wanted to write down drop down. So this is drop down which I've created just to showcase that a drop down has been created. So what I did is I created a table, Control T. When you click on Control T, you have the option to control it to like create a table. You can do that by going into insert and then do table as well. So just click Control T, and that gives you functionality that my table has headers. So click on headers and then click on OK, and it will create a table for you. Okay, once you have that table, you click on the next cell, so that at the drop down, and if you want to add a drop down, then go to data validation and then do the list and then create a drop down. You can do the same thing here as well. I just wanted to select and showcase it to you that we have created a drop down separately, and then copy paste it. So if you like, if I delete everything here, okay, okay, and then if you want to create a drop down here as well, you can do that. Go to data validation, click on list, and then anything. Okay, click on OK, and you'll have the 3 options. Okay, things like that.
Okay,
But
okay, that was example, and that was in department you simply use it.
yeah, exactly. So that was the example. I just wanted to like create it separately so that I can copy paste it and showcase the functionality of Control D, and how things, I mean, how you can replicate it using, I mean, you can not only replicate the data using this particular functionality of Excel, the cursor, you can use the drop down, I mean, you can replicate the drop down as well. So things like that. Okay,
Okay, okay. Yeah.
cool. So that is done. You can get some more information on this website as well, so you can click and check things like that.